Hey, everybody. I'm Rebecca from Thieving Otter Farm,
And I'm Leah with Southern Biophiliac Urban Farm.
and we are two chicks Caturnix bringing you the scoop
Not the poop.
on Caturnix quail. Leah, you've been suffering lately, haven't you?
Oh gosh, it's been so hot.
Like record-breaking hot.
Yeah, we broke records yesterday. It was pretty intense. I'm glad it's on the downswing now.
Gosh, yeah, it's been really hot too here as well. And I just keep thinking about our episode that we did recently on heat advisory. And glad we got that
Yeah,
out
I
to help
used
our
almost
followers.
every single tool in that toolbox this
Same.
weekend.
So yeah, if you're suffering like we are, make sure you check out that episode to help you learn how to keep your Caturnix cool.
And those tips, like for us, it definitely helped greatly. We had no losses, so that was
That's
awesome.
fantastic. That's
Yeah.
amazing. If you're having record-breaking heat and not losing any birds, that's really good.
Yeah, we did really well. I was surprised, but we did.
Wow. Well, I recently put out a post on Facebook asking people what they wanted to learn about. What did they want to see on Two Chicks Caturnix? And overwhelmingly, it
Yes,
was
it was
genetics.
overwhelming.
So we listened, and we are here tonight to talk about sex linked genes. I'm gonna have to do that like 10 times. Like
I probably
I'm
will
gonna
too. I'm gonna trip over it. It's all good.
it is a tongue tying phrase, but we'll get through it, and just bear with us. Okay, so sex linked genes.
These are actually one of my favorites.
I know you did a
I
really, really great post on it.
I just love playing around with them. They're a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Well, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. So we're gonna go through some of the basics before we jump in. So when talking about genes, genes are located on the chromosomes, and they are responsible for all of the traits of the bird. And we're talking everything from temperament to color to body structure.
So these genes are located, as Leah said, on the chromosomes, and there's two different types of chromosomes. There are sex chromosomes and there are autosomes, and autosomes are just pretty much like everything that isn't a sex chromosome.
So I got really confused with sex-linked genes in the very beginning just because I was thinking about mammals. Well, birds are the opposite of mammals. So in mammals, you've got XY being males and XX being females, but it's flip-flopped when it comes to birds. So your males are ZZ and your females are ZZ and ZW.
Like now that I've been looking at this for so long, it's hard for me to comprehend mammals anymore.
I know. I was like, wait, I have to switch. What are we talking about? Because we raise rabbits too. So I have to go
Oh
back and
gosh.
forth. Yeah.
So there are some genes that are located on sex chromosomes. So how that gene is passed on to offspring depends on which sex chromosome the gene is located on. So in quail, it's pretty much going to be the male sex chromosome. And most of the sex linked genes, that's what you call a gene that's located on a sex chromosome, is sex linked. Most of the sex linked genes are going to be recessive. Okay. And if you remember before, recessive means you have to have two copies of the gene in order to see it. And you can use some of these sex linked genes to create a sex linked hatch, which we will talk about in a moment.
So inheritance is based on which sex chromosome the gene is located. So these genes we're going to be talking about are going to be located on the male chromosome. Most of these genes, the hens can only give these to the male offspring.
Yep. Which is really cool. When we dive into this, there's like rules And it's really great because you can apply these rules to do things with your birds.
It's almost as bad as quail math.
So, as I mentioned before, most sex-linked genes are recessive. So, the males must have two copies of the gene to show it. Having two copies of a gene is called homozygous. So, it gets kind of tricky because females, because they only have one male sex chromosome, they can only have one copy of the gene. So, they kind of break that whole recessive rule. Because since they can only have one, they show it when they only have one copy of the gene. So this is called being hemizygous, when they only need one copy of the gene and can only have one copy of the gene to show it.
So what's really cool about most of the sex-linked genes is you can utilize them to create a sex-linked hatch. So if you have a male that is homozygous for one of the sex-linked genes and you put them over, say, brown hens, then you can create what's called a sex-linked hatch. And that means that all the chicks that hatch the sex-linked color will be females, and then all the others will be males, but carriers of the gene.
So this is really cool. This is actually pretty fun to set this up. You have a male that's, we have some of those sex-like colors down there, ginger, cinnamon, and rue. And you have one that's that color, and you breed it to hens that are not ginger, cinnamon, or rue. And when they hatch, all of the ones that are like cute little orange gingers or little red rues those are all girls, and you can see right away as soon as they come out of the egg.
So genes that you can use for a sex-link hatch are rue, ginger, and cinnamon. We don't recommend using sex-link brown because it's really hard to tell them apart from farrow.
Yeah, while it is technically a sex-linked gene because it is located on the male sex chromosome, it's just not useful for setting up a sex-linked hatch. There we go. That's number 2. So let's do a little more of a deep dive. I kind of mentioned before how you can look in and see that all the females are the color of the rooster that you used. So in this graphic, we have a ginger rooster and a non-ginger hen. And all of the girl offspring under that hen are all ginger colored. Okay. And all of the boys are carriers. They inherited one copy of that ginger gene from the rooster. So while they have it, they don't show it because it's recessive.
So sex-link hatches can't work the opposite way, though. You can't, say, use a rooster that's not showing a sex-link gene over a hen that is. Because when you have that hatch, you'll have hens that look like the rooster. You'll also have males that look like the rooster, but they'll be carriers because that mother gave those males that sex-linked gene. You just won't see it.
And I think it's important to kind of back up here a little bit. We probably should have had a slide further, in the beginning, saying that those hemizygous females, those females that have that one copy of the gene, they can only give that gene to boys. They can't give it to girls. And so that's why this pairing doesn't work, because she's going to give that ginger color to the boys, but then they're just carriers and they can't see it. But she can't give that ginger color to any girls because she can only pass the female chromosome to the girls.
Southern Biophiliac Urban Farm. Life and love connect. Where careful and thoughtful selection is maintained to bring you quality birds that are vibrant, good-natured, and productive. We continuously strive to move the industry forward through research and education. ensuring that we bring you birds that will provide you with years full of healthy food, fun experiences, and the freedom that self-sufficiency brings.
Thieving on our farm. We breed for temperament and health, and take pride in happy birds, with a goal that each generation is better than the last, so that you can be just as proud of our birds as we are. Okay, so let's talk about what happens when you have a carrier male and you breed it to just a normal color female. So that carrier male has one copy of one of those sex-linked genes, but you can't see it because it's recessive. So you're going to breed it to that female, and what's going to happen is that male is going to give that one copy of the gene to about 50% of his offspring. So some of the female offspring are going to show that color. So in here you see underneath the hen, there are 3 ginger offspring. When the male gives that copy of the gene to some of his male offspring, they will then become carriers. So this is why sometimes people will have rue or ginger just pop up out of nowhere in one of their lines. Like say they order, Pharaoh or Jumbo Brown or whatever. And then all of a sudden they just have Egyptians. So what happens is sometimes that recessive gene can hide for a while even. And I've known some, even some pretty good breeders that after a while it just pops up. It's like, oh crap.
Yep. Things like to be sneaky like that.
Yeah. So it's just kind of rolling the die on whether or not that's going to pop up. So this is also why sex-linked hatches only work for the first generation. So if you're saying, okay, cool, I'm going to pair this ginger rooster with these non-ginger hens so I can get a sex-linked hatch and I can see the males from the females right when they hatch. Well, you can't then use those roosters for another sex-linked hatch because they're going to be carriers and it's going to mess everything up.
Yep.
So if you want to do sex-linked hatches, that's great. And they're awesome, but you can only do them for that first generation.
Right.
And let's go back here again. One more thing. You want to keep track of those roosters that you hatched from that sex-linked hatch because
very good track. Very good.
If you accidentally put it in with your regular birds, then that's how this thing happens here.
Yes.
Where it just pops up out of nowhere and you're going, oh gosh, where did I go wrong?
And then you have to check every single male.
Yep. Weed it out. Okay. So yeah.
I like this part. This is my favorite. So what happens when you have one copy of 2 different sex-linked genes from the same locus? So that's the same location, which these all share. So they're sex-linked brown, rue, and ginger. And here you're seeing the order of dominance. So that's the gene that kind of takes over the other one. And that is sex-linked brown over rue over ginger. This is where it gets tricky.
It's so tricky.
So what if you have 2 of these sex-linked genes, different ones, that sit on that same locus? I like to use your train analogy, Rebecca, for this one.
I'll jump in with the train analogy and then I'll let you cover the combinations here.
Sounds perfect.
So in one of our genetics episodes, I talked about how your chromosome is kind of like a train. And these locus are the location on the train. So it's the seats they're sitting in. And these seats can only hold 2 people at a time. That's it. You can have no people You can have one person or you can have two people, but you can't have more than that. Nobody likes to be crowded, okay?
Yeah, they don't fit.
The same thing happens when you have a locus and gene. So if these three genes, so sex-linked brown, rue, and ginger, they all share the same location. So if they're sitting on that train, only two genes or one copy of each of those genes can sit in that spot at the same time. So you can have two SLBs, you can have two gingers, you can have two rues, or you can have one of each, but you can't ever have more than that.
Right. And for these, I do have to say these are if it's a male again, because the males are homozygous for those possibilities on that sex-linked gene versus the hens, which is the hemizygous. So they're only going to carry one of these. So here it's just showing some examples. If you had, say, a male that was carrying sex-linked brown and rue, he's going to look like a sex-linked brown. Also, say he's carrying sex-linked brown and ginger, he again is going to look sex-linked brown. And that is because sex-linked brown is more dominant over both rue and ginger. Then, say you have a bird carrying rue and ginger, because rue is more dominant over ginger, that bird will look rue.
Poor ginger loses out every time.
I know. And they're so cute.
They're so cute. I love it. Okay, Leah, I love this phrase. You came up with this in a post. So when in doubt, test it out. What does that mean?
So if you're not sure if your male is carrying a sex-linked gene, it's best to put him over either Pharaoh or sex-linked brown hens and test it out. So see what you get in those subsequent hatches, and don't just do one, do a few of them, because sometimes it doesn't always pop up at once. But if you get hens, different colored offsprings in that hatch, you'll know that your male is carrying a sex-linked gene.
Yep. That's great. All right. Before we close up today, we've got to say some special thanks to Josh Kaler, who provided our theme music. And you can find Josh at joshkaler.com. And Ariel Parker, who provided our graphics and logo design. And you can find Ariel at Savage Daughter Farm. All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Make sure to like and subscribe. And I think we've got a coupon code.
I was going to say, I almost forgot. Thank you.
So that coupon code is genetics10, and that is good on both of our websites.
All right. That'll be good for a full week. And hope you have a great night.
Bye.